Director at Vision International, and I am your host today. I bet you were waiting for me to show up. I want to thank everybody for coming to class, coming onto the call. I call it a class because I just got out of class. So I want to thank everybody for showing up this morning. And today I'm going to talk about a little bit about the 3% to 97%. Most people, I'm hoping that Willie Grove is out there. He usually is. That he can come on the line with me. Are you out there, Willie?
I'm here listening, Mark. Absolutely.
Well, the reason we're talking about the 3% and the 97% is that we have the employee mentality and the business mentality, or the rich dad and the poor dad, whichever way you want to look at it. And I was looking at today, the first one, waiting until they know each and every step before they take even one. I mean, getting ready to get ready, Willie. I mean, so many people have this employee mindset. They're coming out of the work field, and we're trying to share with them how to be successful, but they're always getting ready to get ready. I mean, this is something they use to be all the time, and we call them followers. You put them in the system, and, they're only wanting to know everything before they take the first step.
Well, you know what, I think, Mark, when I think of that, getting ready to get ready, you love to hire people that have initiative. You love to hire people that are able to make decisions on their own and be able to do things. And, in network marketing, what we're seeing is, a lot of people get on the calls, a lot of people get knowledge, a lot of people are wanting to know what's in the product. A lot of people want to know how the compensation plan works, and yet they just sit there and need to know all this. And what they ought to do is, like you said, don't get ready to get ready. Get out there and start doing the right activities. And those are the people. Trial and error. Get out and make some mistakes. You usually have a mentor, your sponsor or your upline, that can help work through those things, Mark.
Well, when you look at a leader, and I know you see yourself as a leader, you own your own business. You know what? They do the due diligence, and they take 1 or 2 steps, and they're on the go. They're in full motion. They take this, whatever business, whatever they have, and they go for it. That 3%er, those real successful people, or those entrepreneurs that are out there, and they keep going long term. I mean, this is a marathon, not a sprint. But when you're looking at it, when you started your own business there, Will, you did your due diligence, and then you took a couple of steps in the direction of your own business, and you went after it.
And you know what, Mark? He who is faithful over little will be given more. And I look at some of the things that I've learned in network marketing. If you don't do the first steps, you'll never, ever be able to be presented some of the bigger steps later in your career. So, as we get into this, and even as leaders on the call, we got to understand, people need to understand how to become a builder. People need to understand how to become a builder 500. And those are the first steps. And what do you do? One of the things we've got to be doing all the time, prospect. So, Mark, when I look at just doing the little things, becoming very good at the fundamentals will give you a foundation for what you're going to encounter later in your career.
You put the employee mentality in a system, and it takes a lot of time to learn it, and they've only focused on how to do it. That 97%er. But you know what? That 3%er, they focus on why they are headed the way they're headed. I mean, you look at it as a leader. Will you have your own business? Why? Why did you start your own business? Not how to start your own business, but why you started your own business. When people come into this business of network marketing, it's not how to do it, it's why. I mean, you look at the two different how and why. I mean, if you look at the followers and the leaders, You know, I look at the two different words of how to do it, Willie, or why I need to do it, or why I'm doing this. When you started your own business, why did you do it, Willie? Why did you start your business?
Wow, Mark. I was 23 years old. I've run my own business for 30 years. And I look back, and had I analyzed things and had I looked at how bad things were, and in 1983, starting my own medical business, I was just too young to even have a clue of what I was doing. But at the same time, I believe that God had his hand on our family. I looked at it as though I needed to feed my family. And by 1984, we had 4 children. And so, you know, I look back, I'm not so sure that I would have the initiative or the desire to do it again. Because if you do all the analysis and things, it's kind of like getting started in your career with Zija. I mean, you know, if you look at it all and you try to analyze it, you're not going to be able to talk yourself into it. But if you look at the end result, if you look at the goal, if you got your mind and you're totally focused on what you want to achieve with your business, then, and you know what? I always tell people, we're going to talk about it tomorrow on the 9 o'clock call. Appetite for what? What do you have an appetite for? And I believe that people that have an appetite to help others, give other people hope, then those are the ones that are going to succeed.
Absolutely. Well, you know, when you look at how to do something, you know, people really focus on how the compensation works, but you hear me say this over time. When your why makes you cry, you'll fly high. You know, in the beginning, I was hopping around. I wanted to help people. Now I hope around. I help other people excel. And, you know, that's the difference. And my why is getting bigger and bigger. It's capitalized W-H-Y, underline, score, I mean, bold-faced, exclamation mark. You know, I have a mother that is dying in assisted living, and if it wasn't for me being able to take care of her, you know what, looking at my why, it got bigger. But, you know, the difference between how and why we look at now, there's 97%, they take, you know, they want to be perfect in what they're doing, you know, and you can't be perfect in this. They want to do everything right and understand something. When you get into network marketing, you know what, you have to start no matter what the circumstances. It's not going to be perfect. You need to do your due diligence and go in there and understand that your circumstances aren't going to be perfect, but you need to go in and go after it. And that's a big difference of a leader. Now, when you look at the employees, they take all sorts of tasks that are appealing. I mean, they're only working on things that they like to do. Well, when you look at the 3%ers, the leaders, they are not looking at the things that they like to do. They're looking at things that move them closer to their goal, their purpose. And, you know, in business, Willie, and we were talking about it this morning, you know, the purpose of a business is you've got to be able to make profits. You know, and a lot of people say, I don't care about money. Well, you know what? When your business is closing down, Willie, you know what? You're going to care about the money because the money is what keeps us going. And we can't help people if we don't make money. And if we can't help ourselves, how are we going to help anyone? So you look at the regular person out there, the 97%er, you know what? They're looking at things that are appealing to them. But when you look at the 3%ers, you know what? We are focused on our goals and our purpose. And you have some people that are out there that are focused on their goals and their purpose, and they're turning into leaders.
And you know what, Mark? My eyes were open years after I started my business. One day I was talking to somebody, and I wanted to put in one of the stair lifts, and you know, and he made a statement. He said, I understand you got to make a profit, so that's fine. Whatever you've got to charge, because for once you're in business, you know, and the same thing happened to my wife in her shop. The lady said, I don't need a discount. like your store, we want you here. So let's just put something out on the table. Profit is not a dirty word, and people understand more than we give them credit for. They know that we're in this to make a living, and they know that we've got to make a profit or we're not going to stay in business. Same thing with our disease business. So when we understand that, and people really are smarter than what we think, then it turns around. You know, people coming into the Zija business, oh yeah, there's a lot of them that just want to get healthy, just want to use the product. And I doggone guarantee you, the first time you help them get their first paycheck, things just kind of change inside of them. The lights come on. It becomes a real business at that point, Mark. So, you know what? We've just got to get over the fact that we need to help people make money, and that'll go a long way to not only keeping people in your organization, but growing your organization a lot faster than just coming in with customers who just want to use the product.
Absolutely. So when you look at the goal, and the goal is to stay in business, make profits. The purpose is to help other people excel. You know what? I'm focused on that. And, you know, the next section that I'm going to talk about, number 5, is that, you know, most of us, we want to learn on our own. We want to learn on our own. We want to do things by ourselves. We want to go through and experience this by ourselves. Well, you know what? The people that are very successful, the 3%ers, you look at Andrew Carnegie. You know, if you look at his book, he talks about his 2 mentors. He didn't know anything about business. This man came over and he was like, you know, doing janitorial work, sweeping floors, and he came over from Europe. Just remember, he came over from a nightmare that happened in Scotland. The looms closed down because the power looms came out. And so what he was very successful with family business, was put out of business. But you know what? He found someone, 2 people that mentored him, Willie. And you know what? He realized he couldn't do it on his own. He didn't want to learn on his own because there was a lot of costly mistakes. Having a mentor, I mean, you look at the 3%ers, how important is that, Willie? To have somebody to spend time with you that you can talk to and help you to go through and not make all those mistakes on your own.
You know what, in the old days, we called them an apprentice, and people learned a valuable trade, and man, that was on-the-job training. That was valuable experience, more so than learning in a book in a 4-year educational institution. But I'll tell you what, everybody wants a mentor. You know, man, if I could just learn from him, he's so successful. And I just want to propose to everybody on the line that there's nothing that would help you any more than a Monday morning call at 9 a.m. with David Moses, the master distributor. Tuesday with Coach Epps. And Tuesday's call, Coach Epps had Sean on there. And I'm telling you, I learned so much. Yesterday, Dale Taylor. Mark, you today. Tomorrow, Ron Gould, or whoever's going to fill in, Paul Lovato. These are mentor-apprentice relationships, and I love it because I still need that daily motivation and that daily renewing of your mind. So, Mark, you know, we're all needing some mentor, and if you don't have that one-on-one, you still have those daily calls that you can get information. You can be mentored by the best of them.
Absolutely. And when you look at the master plan, to me, the captain of our ship that has a master plan, he has the master plan. All I have to do is hook up to what his master plan is, and that is to take this company around the world, to become international, to be the biggest company that he's ever had. Matter of fact, bigger than both of his companies, his past companies combined, and they were very big companies. You know, instead of doing and learning on our own again, you know, going out there and learning and doing things on our own and making mistakes and not having a master plan, a mastermind, you know, following somebody that has a master plan. And that's very important. be like the Joneses next door. What are they doing? And we see that the majority is not the right way to go. Matter of fact, we see that the majority of the people, they have a tendency to go the wrong direction. The leaders, they step up and they go against the grain. You know, the Warren Buffett, the E.F. Hutton, the Bill Gates. I mean, these guys, they didn't do things the way the rest of the people were doing it. They stepped out and they went against the crowd. They don't follow the crowd. They lead the crowd. And then we see them stand for what is right. Always do what is right, even under adversity. Even under adversity. We see that the regular people, the 97%ers, they're always changing their mind depending on who they're listening to. No. You see, you stick with what is right, no matter what is happening. Do what is right. Be integrity. Become trustworthy. Don't always change your mind, and whichever way the wind is blowing, that's to where you go. You want your ground, your feet to be firmly planted on what is right. We look at they also, those top leaders, they pay little attention or no attention to the opinions of others. You know, if you look at, you know, taking somebody's opinion, you take their lifestyle. You know, the majority of the people out there, they always want to be pleasing. They want to be liked by everybody. But you know what? If you want to be that ultra-successful person in this type of a business, you can't please everyone. And I know, having my own business, being an entrepreneur my whole life, starting out as a paper boy into franchising, owning my own business, getting into network marketing in 1997, I know that there's going to be people that do not like your style. But you know what? You can't pay attention, or you pay a little attention to what they're saying, because there might be some truth in there that you need to change. But you know what? When you look at it all, the next one, the last one that I want to talk about is the mindset. I did a diamond focus call on mindset. Your mindset needs to be for abundance. God didn't create us to be ordinary. She created us to be extraordinary. You know, most of the people out there today, they are accessing the survival mode. You know, they're living off the government, and, you know, somebody else is going to take care of us. And you know what? The mindset of success, of abundance. You know, when the children of Israel came out of Egypt, and they wandered through the desert, and God tried them, what did God give them? Did he give them crumbs, or did he give them the promised land? Did he give them a job, or did he give them everything they needed to create jobs? You see, that's what we're doing. You see, the rich dad, poor dad, Robert Kiyosaki, you know, the poor dad, he looks for a better job. The rich dad, he makes jobs. And that's something, really, you know, you were a small-time businessman, and you had people working for you. Now you're out there creating jobs and showing them how to create jobs. I mean, that's completely different. I mean, that's abundance.
It's so much nicer. It's somebody else's money. I mean, you know, you can't put a price on the fact that you can help people be successful financially. I mean, I don't know, Mark, 30 years traditional business, I love what I do, but there's a whole lot of responsibility when you've got employees and you've got overhead and all that. And so at this point, I'd do anything within reason for my downline to make them successful. And we've got some exciting things happening right now in our organization.
I want to talk about that. We talk about abundance. Here is the X Factor promotion. The executives of this company created a promotion of abundance, really? I mean, come on, you've been a businessman. Where in the world could you bring somebody into your company and pay them 4 times the amount of a promotion? Come on, could you imagine doing a promotion within your business and making it 4 times the bonus or whatever the promotion is?
joy. We want to help other people get what they want to get. There's a whole lot of people out there waiting for you to contact them because we should all be all about the new person. Yeah, it doesn't benefit us directly to bring a new person in at 1320. They go get two people at 1320, and the company's going to pay them $1,850 their first week in the business. If you are doing that, I believe that you really mean it when you say you want to help people. But I'm telling you, this promotion isn't going to last forever. Mark, I've got 4 people right now that are in the process, and 2 of them have one person. We're trying to get the other person. These are business-minded people. These are things that you can go out there with this promotion, and you can build your business. And like I said before, not necessarily with customers, but with business-minded people, and then get them on the product and let them enjoy the product after they've had success their first week in the business.
Absolutely. Well, the best thing I can leave everybody out there with is in the early days when the people of Europe were looking for this new land, this land of possibilities, and we see that there is a big, the ocean that is in between. And once they said that Christopher Columbus came over to this new land, this new way of life, we saw that it wasn't easy for him to get over here, but it's worth it. But once you get over here, it's the beginning of living in your dream. See, they left a nightmare that was going on there in Europe to live in their dreams. And there's 2 things you can live in, your nightmares or your dreams. And that's what we're giving people, an ability to live in abundance, to believe in the American dream, not the American nightmare, which most, the 97%ers, believe is happening and basically have succumbed to this kind of thinking. You know, that mindset of, woe is me. But you know what? The rich dad, he can go out there and believe that he can create all the wealth that his family needs and more because we have the resources. We have the master plan. Right now, living in abundance, you need to have a mindset of abundance. With this wonderful promotion that our company has put out there, you have ability to capitalize on it. I have a person that I'm working with right now out of San Diego, a young man, ex-Marine, didn't have 2 wooden nickels to rub together. But you know what? He came in with a business builder. He was a preferred customer. At 1320, he got a business builder 1 underneath of him with his hands, and now he's pulling all the cousins and relatives together, and by Friday, his goal is to get builder 1 or 2 by Friday. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. You say you can't, you can't. You say you can, you can. You're always right. You know what? The mindset of abundance. Find somebody to lock arms with. Go out there and become that 3%er. But remember, to break away from that 97% mold that's out there, it's hard. Most of us are in that mold. And I'm going to give you a good indicator, you know, a financial indicator, a numbers. That 3%er is making $100,000 a month in the worst economic times. Now, we know we're not making that majority of, there are a few people in this company that are making that. I want to let you know, it is a phase by phase that you go through to break away from what I call the matrix. Unplugging from the matrix. If you think you're worth $10 an hour, that's what you're going to be paid. If you think you're worth $100 an hour, that's what you're going to be paid. You think you're worth $1,000 an hour, and on and on. Take this lesson today. Apply it into your life, into your business. Move away from those 97%ers because they're going the wrong way. That's living your dreams, not your nightmares. I'm going to open up the line here. Thank you so much, Willie, for coming on the line and sharing with us. I am now opening the call up to everybody. I will be in North Canton, Ohio, doing a training with Willie Grove and Diamond Direct Arena and Mike Livingston. They're going to be there also with Erica Gasser, and Marcy Cheney is going to be there putting the show on. This weekend, if you know anybody in the North Canton, Ohio area, I will be there sharing with them how to become a 3%er and take this opportunity and this wellness program and go, go, go.
Excellent. Let's